A very good evening and a warm welcome to this evening's edition of the Limelight. My name is Sima Apollo. Now, in recent weeks, Ugandans have witnessed a wave of natural disasters, mainly arising from the heavy rains that have been pounding several parts of the country for the last 3 months. And among these disasters include mudslides, landslides, and flash floods, some of which have been fatal, including the one in Kisoro district in which 16 people lost their lives, but others have been disruptive, including yesterday's incident along Masaka-Kampala Highway, when River Katonga burst its banks, disrupting traffic flow along that route. And this again poses a question on how Uganda as a country is prepared in preserving the environment as well as mitigating the effects of climate change. And to understand this matter, we need to connect with professionals. And this evening we have Mr. Robert Kugonza Akiki. He is an environmental professional, but again, he's also a founder and executive director of Friends of Life, an organization that spearheads preservation of the environment and mitigating the global effects of climate change. Let's connect with Akiki Robert Kugonza and we get into the thing. Hello, Robert. Yes, Robert, I think we can now set off. And Robert, you tell us and give us your professional opinion on how best Uganda as a country is doing to mitigate the effects of climate change.
Thank you very much, Apollo, and thank you for having me, introducing me, and a good evening to all our viewers this evening, and you are welcome to this talk show. Yeah, you've given a very, I think, profound background of especially what is happening in terms of environment and environmental changes that we're seeing, which are also indicators of the climate change that we are experiencing. Yeah, and to what are Ugandans or is Uganda doing to avert the environmental or the climate change is definitely not enough. Quite, I can say that yes, there have been efforts in tree planting as directed towards climate change mitigation, but these efforts are not enough as compared to the rate at which trees are being destroyed. Much as the trees planting is taking place, both initiated by mainly private and environmental organizations, but the encroachers and those who are cutting the trees are many. And these include those who are involved in massive charcoal burning throughout the country, more especially in recent times in northern Uganda, where trees are being cut massively and not being replaced. And there is also deforestation, both on private land and on government or gazetted forests, unfortunately, which should be much safer. But because, first of all, on the private land, there is such a need for agricultural expansion, and people have to meet the food needs, so they find that they have to clear the land of forests and get food produced for consumption of the increasing population. But the forests that are gazetted should be safe, but they are equally not safe. One, because some of them are being given to the investors to clear. Any Ugandan who is alert has been following what has been happening in the Bunyoro area, in the district of Chikube now, where parts of Goma forest have been given to the investors who are sugarcane growers to clear, which they have done very effectively for sugarcane growing. That is not good. But also in other forests that seem to portray a picture of being safe, which are not, you'll find a lot of cutting of timber taking place under even the laws of the NFA, which should be taking care. Even when there are actually whistleblowers in some cases, in some places, that they are put there with the community members that should inform. Even when they try to blow the whistle, actually the information goes and says, hey, they have seen you, can you try to find other strategies? And this deforestation, destruction of environment continues with the impunity. It is common knowledge that wetlands everywhere around here in the central region, in the countryside, are also at a very big danger and are being destroyed with impunity, even involving the people in power. They are the ones which should, if you talk about the cases that we have seen yesterday, Katonga, and other areas we have seen before in Mount Elgon, we have seen what is happening in Kasese.
Robert, if you can hear me, are you suggesting, of course, you've raised the issue of investors, and they have been cited in cases of degrading wetlands, a case of Royal and many other areas. Are you affirming that indeed we have failed to strike a balance between sustainable development in wetlands vis-a-vis the money we hope to accrue from, of course, the projects undertaken by these investors?
Exactly, you have put it well, that the investors, all investors actually, they know the requirement for environmental protection, but their main drive is profit making. So for them, if they come from anywhere they come from, they will come with the aim of profit making. If they find the country laws or the people who are supposed to protect the environment are sleeping, they will take advantage of them as if nothing is happening. This is what has been happening in Uganda. They come, and the areas they are given to build industries are the wetlands. The areas they are given to grow sugarcane are the forests. So for them, they will go driven by the profit making other than the environment. It should be incumbent upon the country organs, especially the Ministry of Environment, NEMA in this case particularly, to say, no, this area should be protected. Once the environmental impact assessments are made, then this should decide on whether this area should be given out or not, depending on how much it is going to be, damage is going to be made to the environment. But unfortunately, this we have witnessed that it has not been happening. How would NEMA issue a license to let the forest be cut? How a NEMA would issue a license to a wetland to be flooded and to be dumped in soil so that somebody wants to grow flowers, to be dumped in because...
Robert, let's quickly, because we are running out of time, let's quickly look at citizens' participation in preserving the environment. What do you think is the level of the citizens' participation, and what do you think may be your recommendations in that line of how citizens can participate and preserve the environment?
Citizens definitely participation is not at its best. One is the citizens need to be informed to the level that they are aware of the damage that is on the environment and the climate change effects that it will cause on climate, but also which will affect them. Like for instance, now people were not able to travel yesterday as they should travel from Masaka on the western region to Uganda. That is one example, but there are many other things that will come. So the level of sensitization and informing the citizens about the effects of climate change is not well done by the responsible organs that should do that. Two is that if you also consider that the people are observing those who are supposed to be the leaders, to be conserving, and yet they are not conserving. People, you come in the village and say you are people around the community and surrounding this forest, you should not cut the forest, and yet they see forest being ferried away. So how do they get the courage that they should keep away from cutting the trees when they see those who are responsible, who are supposed to protect it, are actually cutting them away? So that is also that their level of participation, therefore, in this case, they will be demoralized and say, okay, if we are supposed to protect, then we are protecting for others, not for ourselves, because after all, what we are protecting is being used and is being cut, and that one is.
Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much for your time, and unfortunately our time is up. But of course, me and you have done and played our role very well. We have sensitized the citizens about what actually is happening, and most importantly, about their role and what they can do to conserve the environment. My name is Principal. Let's catch up again next Friday. It is the edition of the Limelight. Good evening and stay well.